All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the rat is back at it again. It looks like Maygi is here to spread even more misinformation about Wuthering Waves. Because, of course, right, we know that this is a person that holds grudges. We know that this is a person that is in here with an agenda. They went ahead, they posted a video saying that Kuro ruined their career after they got caught leaking and were kicked from the creator program. They posted that video right after the anniversary drama, hoping to capitalize on it and get more people on their side. It worked until somebody found the receipts, until somebody found the evidence. And by holding a grudge against the WuWa subreddit and the WuWa community as a whole, well, all you have to do is take a look at some of her recent posts on Reddit. She's deleted a lot of them, because she made one post talking about how Kuro ruined her career, got ratioed on that one after people found out the truth. She also made another post apologizing for that one, got ratioed the fuck out of this one. And then she got ratioed again, talking about her video explaining everything. Evidence of that now deleted post, right, that got ratioed into infinity and beyond. Well, Ryuku-sensei himself went ahead and actually broke it down for everybody and got into it, explaining why he got suspended as a WuWa content creator. And it's pretty clear, right? It's pretty clear that's not on her Reddit profile anymore. It's pretty clear this is no longer on her Reddit profile anymore. I wonder why. I'd be pretty pissed too if I got fucking destroyed like this as well. Oh wait, I already did. Because all this rat has done is try to smear my reputation behind the scenes. Let's take a stab at hers then. Except we won't lie this time, like her. We'll just say the truth. And isn't it crazy that just saying the truth about Maygi is what ends up making her reputation worse? Isn't it crazy that saying the truth is what makes her reputation worse? Think about that for a second. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, she's back at it again to spread even more misinformation. Only this time, it's gonna be through a different means. It's not gonna be from Kuro ruining her career because she got caught spreading leaks for several months. It's going to be because she's overstating how actually strong the Zani and Phoebe team is, using the community's collective inability to actually do math. There are a couple of CCs on record, right, that have said they actively failed high school algebra, they actively failed geometry back in the day, never took a calculus class. And I do believe that this creator, with all of these charts, and of course, her ridiculous spreadsheets, she's just going ahead and abusing that to spread yet another agenda. So we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna skip all of this stuff because it's just like, it's pretty basic understanding of the game. Yeah, run attack and heavy attack substats and crit and you'll do more damage. Let's get into this chart over here, which is probably one of the biggest offenders that we have right now. And this is the thing. This is a DPS calculation over 2 minutes. And she's directly comparing the performance of a Zani and Phoebe team against teams like Carlotta Jeja, Camellia Rosia, Phoebe and Spectral Rover, and making some conclusions like this. The previous DPS leader, Carlotta Jeja, was at 60k DPS. So these new Zani teams offer 15% power creep, according to her calculations. 15% power creep, which is the largest we've ever seen so far. Isn't it? Wouldn't it be wildly convenient? Wouldn't it be wildly convenient if, for some reason, there was a massive amount of power creep right off the anniversary drama, right off the getting kicked from the creator program drama, right after all of this stuff, when Maygi's on the record saying that she hates Wuthering Waves, she hates the community, and she hates what happened to her after she got kicked from the program? Wouldn't it be funny if there was even more drama caused from this creator, except this time it's about Kuro rapidly power creeping the game? And so I decided, why don't we go ahead, why don't we take a look, why don't we talk about where these numbers are coming from? Because 15% is a pretty big claim, wouldn't you say? 15% power creep over the other teams, 10k more DPS is quite a lot. And so what I did was, well, I decided to look at some of the numbers. I decided to look at, specifically, because we're looking at performance over 2 minutes, I decided to look at, straight up, what her sheet is looking like. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of stinky stuff on here. There's a lot of really stinky stuff on here. Let's go ahead, let's get right on into it. So what you're gonna notice over here on Maygi's sheet, and I don't think anyone's actually ever taken the time to look at this because, like I said before, half of the community probably failed math class. Nobody actually looked at how this in-game time, all the different attacks she's using, all of these rotations that she's talking about, nobody actually looked at how it's all adding up. And there's one conclusion that I have to say after looking at this entire thing, validating some of the rotations, and even testing it out in-game myself. So much of this is made up. She is understating to such an absurd degree how long attacks in this game take. She has, through much of the moves that she's putting into here, a lot of the assumptions that she's making with the fight, she's understating the time it takes and overstating the damage that teams are actually going to be able to do in any content in the game. It doesn't have to be TOA. It can be WuWa, it can be holograms. It's basically everything. And because she's understating how much time stuff takes and overstating the damage of her rotations, yeah, that would pretty easily feed into the narrative that there's a fuck ton of power creep. Because she's using attacks, she's using moves that you physically can't do in time that isn't physically possible. So, the first example that I'm going to show you all first is probably the most egregious. She's just going ahead and with Phoebe, using 2 basic attacks for literally no reason before using one of her heavy attack star flashes. And this is how you're able to activate Phoebe's Spectral Frazzle. You have to do 3 basic attacks that charges it up, and then you heavy attack. But for some reason, Maygi is going ahead and just putting in 2 of them in here. And she's also stating that each one only takes about 1.4 seconds. 2 Phoebe 3-hit attack chains takes 1.4 seconds. I got video showing what it looks like when I do it on my end. We're in the ring, right? In the middle of the ring. We're saying that all of this took 2.8 seconds. I've had people time this. It's more like 3.8, 3.7 at minimum. She's literally playing the game on the 1.5 speed. And I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, she doesn't do it right. She doesn't do it just here. She does it throughout the spreadsheet. And do keep in mind that all of these attacks are implying that you never need to dodge and that you're just inputting every single one. And the only time you're dodging is to do a dodge cancel to shorten the animation time of the ability. So we've already shown one example where she's just putting in extraneous, unnecessary attacks into the kit to inflate the team's DPS, and then she's also proceeding to understate how much time it takes. 2.86 seconds on her sheet when it takes like 3.7 or more in actual gameplay. Just shaving off, casually shaving off 33% of how long it takes to actually do those moves. Isn't that a little bit fishy when we're talking about overall DPS calculations in the scope of a team? Over 2 minutes? But wait, there's more. Another rotation that she does is a very special one on Zani, where you actually end up doing 2 full Nightfall, Daybreak, Dawning, Nightfall rotations. You end up doing 2 full rotations over here. This is a fact of the matter. I'll show you what it looks like in the TOA when you do 2 full Nightfall rotations. And we'll make sure that we have a full bar as well. Yeah, we'll do it against Inferno Rider too, because she also does it in her footage. The only rotation that matters is when we're on Zani. Let's check it out. This is what happens when you do 2 full Nightfall rotations. You're at literally 10 blaze left. And then you cast your Liberation. And then you end it.
From the heart.
We just sampled it out. You're left at 10 blaze. This is what Maygi ends up doing in her rotation. She does a full other Nightfall attack. And this is entirely possible, right? You're allowed to use Nightfall when you have lower than 30 blaze, as long as you start the attack before. But she's doing all of that, 3 full Nightfall attacks, putting in 2 swaps to Phoebe, doing a 3rd Nightfall attack after holding her skill and doing all of this damage. All of this damage. Look how long it takes. That's less than 8 seconds. That's about 8.1, 8.2 seconds. That she did 2 full Nightfall attack chains. Went to Zani, held her Resonance skill, and then did another Nightfall attack. Also put in 2 swaps as well. So we're putting in frame perfect data. We're already showing that she's understating how long it takes to actually do a rotation, actually do attacks. And then proceeding to say that this team is power creeping by 15%. After we're putting in more attacks than we can actually deal in a certain frame of time. And then we're also on the record understating how long it takes to deal attacks. And this is the thing. This is the best part about all of it. We got Maygi's video herself showing off this rotation, guys. And this is the thing. We have her when she's on field with Zani. Take a look at this. I'm gonna turn off the volume so you don't have to hear this rat. Why do you think she's slowing down time so much and then not showing the timer at the top? Why do you think she just conveniently gives you one of the worst gameplay angles in gacha gaming? Hides the timer. Hides half your concerto. Like, wouldn't it just be better to make it smaller and then let you see more of the screen? We have this plus time slowdowns. Let's take a look. We got our first swap over here. Right? Oh, we have full footage over here. We're showing exactly how much time stuff takes, though. But now that we're in the gameplay footage, boom. Huh. A little bit interesting. And then we slow down time even more when she's in the charging form. You want to know why she slows down time so much? Because in her sheet, she says that a fully charged Zani's resonance skill in her liberation only takes 0.95 seconds. Let's try it out.
I don't have all day. Come at me.
That was 0.95 seconds? To get that second ping, right? To get that second ping where it shines. That was 0.95 seconds to cast that entire ability? Like, from the second I start casting to when it starts shining and I can release it. So this is the thing, right? We're going ahead and we're actively understating how long these moves are taking to use. We go from 19.5 to 20.70. We're literally just putting in 30% time reductions on abilities for no reason. 30% reduction in the time that it's taking to use certain abilities for no reason at all. And then we're saying we're doing all of this to do and justify this extended rotation that she's saying only takes, we start at 16.10 and then we end right over here at 24.75. We're saying this entire rotation only takes 8.5 seconds. But we're on the record understating how long each of these moves take so we can fit in this giga-long rotation. And this is the thing. Nobody's looking at these numbers. Nobody's looking and validating these numbers. They're just taking a look at the cool little spreadsheet, seeing how many attacks are in here. Why the fuck is she using 2 Chamuel stars? Why is she using 2 Chamuel stars when you only have to use one of them? And you want to know the best part? Why are these attacks even Chamuel stars? Because this is the thing, guys. For Phoebe to use Chamuel stars, this is the situation. She needs to first cast her skill and then be inside of her skill to use it. It is linked entirely to her resonance skill. All of the damage of the ability. And she is sheeting these calculations, first understating how long Chamuel Star takes to do. She's understating how long it takes to do, first and foremost. Now it's only 1 second, because I guess she's using a swap. And then is implying that you're permanently in Phoebe's ring the entire time. The entire fight. And you want to know when we cast Phoebe's ring? At the start of the rotation. We cast Phoebe's ring at the start of the rotation. We never use it again until the next rotation. But we're sheeting Chamuel's star for every single time Phoebe does basics. Even when we're, according to her sheet, 21 seconds into the rotation, we're implying that the boss has never moved. All of our calculations, what we're saying is 15% power creep is contingent on the boss being entirely stationary and never attacking you a single time. We're just making conclusions like this. The previous DPS leader, Carlotta Jeja, was at 60k. This new Zani team is 15% power creep. But do keep in mind that my sheet requires the boss to not move for 30 seconds and also never attack you a single time. You want to know why this is such an illegitimate comparison? Comparing it to Carlotta Jeja? And why this claim of 15% power creep is so ridiculous? Because the Carlotta Jeja team literally cannot miss damage. The Carlotta Jeja team has 100% uptime. It is actually not possible to mess up a Carlotta Jeja rotation. It's like physically not possible. Every single attack tracks, and against any enemy in the game, you don't even need to dodge either. And you'll do all the damage. There's no way to miss when you're using Carlotta Jeja. And the thing is, if we're just going ahead and we're comparing it to teams, where we're doing frame perfect cancels, we're also heavily understating how long the attacks take to do, and then saying that the enemy is permanently going to be inside Phoebe's ring for a full 30-second rotation. Isn't this a little bit stinky? Isn't this just a little bit stinky? That we're going ahead and we're making claims of power creep like that? Doing extended rotations? that take actually way longer than this in practice, and then comparing it to teams where their full damage is constantly guaranteed, fuck it, we'll demo it right now. All right, let's just demo that shit real fast. We're going to talk about a team where we're, again, the boss is never moving. We're doing frame perfect cancels, and we're comparing it to this team. Where you physically, like, cannot actually miss the DPS.
Masterpiece complete.
We're comparing it to that team. Where you basically, unless you end up getting hit somehow during Carlotta's liberation, but you're actively dashing away from them, you're guaranteed to hit every single attack. And there's no real room to like quick swap or do any crazy shit in that rotation. But we're going ahead and we're directly comparing that one. We're talking about the Jeja team like this, the Jeja Carlotta team. And then we're putting in extended day breaks, reducing the time it takes for charge up moves by 30%, randomly doing another basic attack chain on Phoebe for fun, reducing the time that one takes by 30 seconds. I wonder if there's an agenda here, guys. I do genuinely wonder if we're trying to get some vengeance on Kuro Games for ruining our career. Isn't it really convenient timing with all of the doom posting going on in the Wuthering Waves subreddit? Isn't it really convenient with all of the discourse on Spectral Rover versus Phoebe? Isn't it really convenient with all the people saying that like Sitlali and Mavuika are directly compared to Zani and Phoebe? And then we go in and we put in one of the most cooked rotations possible. That is not accurate at all. I'm pretty sure we could just look at the rest of this shit and be like, yeah, the timing on all this other stuff is completely fucked up. I only looked at the stuff that was fishy. I only looked at the stuff that was that looked bad at a first glance. I'm certain there's more. As a final note, when it comes to the stats that she's showing, guys, well, let's just say that these stats are a little bit fishy, ladies and gentlemen. We're running 81% crit on Phoebe, 291% crit damage, 93.87% on Zani, 291. Oh, sorry. No, that's not Zani. Zani's at 348% crit damage, 65.87% crit. And you want to know the best part about all of this, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, this is all on 0% ER. Yeah, we're just doing a liberation every rotation. We're putting in a shit ton of additional substats into all this crit, all this heavy attack, all this attack as well. Yeah, and we have 0% ER on both Phoebe and Zani. Ow. Yeah. Let me know when Phoebe actually has her liberation in confession mode with no ER. Let me know how often Zani can liberate with no ER. She can't even do the rotation, go to line 98. Oh, okay. Yeah, she just says, okay, so it's an illegal rotation. Illegal rotation without enough ER, but we're still using that to calculate. We're still using all of this to calculate and then drive forward the whole 15% power creep argument. Yeah, we're still making our conclusion over here. This is 15% power creep, but we can't even do the rotation. 15% power creep, but we can't even do the rotation. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're definitely not trying to rage bait here. Yeah, we definitely have no agenda here, ladies and gentlemen. This is just pure. This is just very pure math fairy gremlin. No grudge. No hate towards WuWa. Not trying to capitalize on any drama. None of that, guys. It's just super clean. And when we're going ahead, and then we're talking about the team DPS like this, and that's directly based on the in-game time, because we're extrapolating it out to 2 minutes, and we're caught on the record overinflating team damage numbers and understating the time it takes, it seems like we're putting in some fucked up calculations to drive a point to me. And then she's also going in and just saying blanket statement. The new Zani team is 15% power creep, but doesn't mention this is against a stationary enemy that never moves and then also never attacks you at the same time. And then in her video where she talks about the rotation, she's actively hiding the timer, slowing down time at random moments. Why would you need to slow down time this much when you are literally doing nothing? Why would you need to slow down time this much when you're literally doing You're literally just sitting there holding the skill button. So yeah. And why do you think she doesn't show that second rotation? Why do you think she doesn't show that second rotation? Where she's randomly doing a second basic attack chain on Phoebe to inflate the team's DPS. And this is the type of dumbass that reads her sheets, has no idea how to think, and just assumes her numbers are right. Bro literally said, wouldn't slowing down time make the rotation longer? When we just looked at in-game footage that's been edited to... How long have you been here? Oh, you've been here since the start of the... No, you're just stupid. Yeah. This is the type of person that Maygi is preying on in the community. This is the type of chatter that Maygi is preying on in the community that has no ability to critically think, just looks at numbers, looks at condensed data, looks at this chart, and is like, oh, it must be right. Oh, it must be right. This must be correct. Well, it must be 15% power creep. But if you just spend about 20 minutes actually auditing this sheet, it's complete bullshit. Hopefully, all this misinformation that Maygi is continuing to spread around, all of this misinformation that, in my opinion, she's doing to get vengeance on the community for having wronged her. Because guess what her last post was before this? My response to everything. 0 upvotes, 35 comments. Talking about her ban situation, talking about the misinfo she spread. And then in her next post, her complete Zani guide, she's spreading misinformation about 15% power creep. Does this look like revenge to you? I think it does to me. So make sure you take everything that this rat is putting forward with a massive grain of salt. A massive, massive grain of salt. Because this is stinky as hell. And idiots like this are going to read this post, take it at full value, because they don't have the IQ required to actually parse through this sheet and realize how completely fucked these calculations are. So with that, hopefully this has enlightened all of you to even more misinformation that's getting spread around the space. When lightning strikes twice in the same spot, is it just a coincidence? Is it just a coincidence? When lightning strikes or Maygi's lies are constantly happening like this, I think it's a trend. Let me know what you all think. Peace.